It's funny how many people say things like religion is the cause of most of the wars in the world. Actually, religions cause very little or very few wars. The Crusades, for sure, that was a problem, but that was also a product of a bunch of bored knights with nothing to do. The whole of the 20th century was filled with wars that had nothing to do with religion or faith of any kind. World Wars I and II, Persian Gulf, 1 and 2, Iran versus Iraq, all had nothing to do with religion, but everything to do with land, or in some cases oil. For some reason, people think that people of faith will be judgmental and will come down on others like tons of bricks. Now, sometimes that's true, but it doesn't lead people into bloodthirsty war. In fact, Christians, on the other hand, are the most judged people on the planet. Have you ever done something wrong in front of a non-Christian, maybe at school or at work or at uni, and had them say, that wasn't very Christian, was it? And then if we point out their failings, they will say something like, don't judge me, man, I don't have to live up to your standards, that's your thing, not mine. Now, I say all of this tonight because we're looking at judgment, or sort of. If you were to split the passage up, I know that the NRSV split it up into 4 bits. How would you split the passage up? Now, we know it all goes together because it's God's word. But how would you, if you looked at that, I'm looking for answers, how would you split it if you were going to find a division anywhere in the passage?
Verse 6, start a new block.
So start a new block at verse 6 or after verse 6?
At verse 6.
At verse 6, okay.
'Cause
So
it's
1 to
sort of
5 and then 6 to 12?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna do slightly different. It's not just you, other people agreed and no one else said anything. I'd actually do 1 to 6 and then 7 to 12. What's more, there's a little bit of a contrast between the two sections, isn't there? The first section is talking about judging. The second section is about how God doesn't judge his children. And then at the end is this little line that reminds us that God knows what he's doing. Now, have a look at verses 1 to 6. Can anyone tell me something odd in these verses? Anything odd? Yeah. How do you get a log in your eye? That's a good start. What does Jesus say in verse 1? He says, don't judge. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
And then it says, once you've dealt with your own sin, then you judge.
Yeah, but then he says, don't be a hypocrite. Okay, and then he says, don't cast what's holy before dogs. Don't give your pearls to swine. So he's saying judge. So how do we judge and not judge? Perhaps there's a key can be found. Look at the last verse of our passage. Verse 12. Do to others as you would have them do to you. In fact, from verses 1 and 2 we can see this is exactly the case. The measure you use against someone else is the measure that will be used against you. The way you judge someone is the way that you will be judged. So what is the connection between judging people and asking and seeking and knocking? You guys got any ideas? If I was Rob, I could do the cricket noise, but I can't. I love that noise. I need to get it like an app, just record it. So, anyway, we'll come back to that. I've actually got an idea, but we'll talk to it when we get there. Now, firstly, don't judge others. No, actually, be prepared to judge when you judge. So if you notice that there is a speck in your brother's eye, feel free to pluck it out, but only after you have removed the log from your own eye. You see, Jesus doesn't say don't take it out. But you've got to remove the log from your eye. Do you guys know what hyperbole is? Have you heard that phrase? For those who haven't, because not everyone nodded, hyperbole is when you go absolutely over the top with ideas. Let me give you an example of what it might look like for you to not take the log out of your own eye.
Oh, that's what the log's.
It's not the Christmas.
Okay, Will, dude, come here, man. You've got a speck. Come here. I've got to get that out for you. Come on. Come on. There's a speck in your eye. Dude, people are talking about it. You know, like I've heard the girl saying that you've got a speck in your eye. I mean, do you know? That's ridiculous, isn't it? Like, I can't even reach. You know?
Your log would hurt.
Yeah, that's right. It hit him in the head. But, yeah, that's why I put that in that way, not into my own eye. Because then, you know, that'd be a problem.
Where'd you get the nails? Did you rip out someone's fence?
Sorry?
Did you rip
No, it was from downstairs. That, just so you know, that bit of wood has come from a pile of wood that was ripped out of the crypt when they put nice walls and stuff on.
Okay.
Whoever said Jesus didn't have a sense of humour? Like, you just, I mean, yeah, how do you get a log in your eye? And it's just like, come on, it's just kind of crazy. But do you notice that Jesus doesn't say, don't take the speck out of your brother's eye? That's the surprise here. He's not saying that your own sin disqualifies you from saying anything to your brother. He says, get your life in order and then do something about it. But what's more, the example that he uses in sight, your own telegraph pole is blocking your vision. You can't actually see properly to take that out. I mean, if I tried to take something out of someone's eye while I've got that thing up on my face, like I'd do an injury to him, wouldn't I? Your own telegraph pole is blocking your vision. So get rid of it so that you can help your neighbour. What's on view here is hypocrisy. And he says, get rid of hypocrisy so that you can get rid of sin. It's really important that we understand Jesus is not saying don't deal with sin in your neighbour's eyes, or in your neighbour's lives, or their eyes. Deal with it, but make sure that you're able to deal with it because of your own life. And then in the last bit of this section, he says, don't throw your pearls to swine. Don't cast what is holy before dogs. Anyone want to guess what the modern equivalent of that would be? Don't feed trolls.
Don't what?
Don't feed trolls. Trolls, it's an internet thing. Okay? Okay? Don't feed trolls. Trolls on the web are people who they'll deliberately start fights. Classic example of a troll behaviour is someone makes a Facebook comment that's perfectly nice and innocuous on their status, and then a troll comes in and comments on it in a way that is completely the opposite. Completely, just obviously starting a fight, waits for a comment or two, and then deletes their comment. So it looks like the person's having a fight with someone. Don't go and do that, because it's really mean, but that's troll behaviour. And there's a lot, can I say? There's a lot of swine on the internet. I'm just saying. There's a lot of stuff on the internet, a lot of swine.
But you need to go on the internet to find a wife.
That was hilarious.
Emily Henry this morning.
My daughter giving marriage advice. If I had done the same thing, I'd say you can't find a wife in your own country, you've got to go somewhere else and find another expat. Anyway, that's what my parents did. So what we're getting from this is there are some times that we should judge. There in fact are times that you should judge. You don't throw your pearls to pigs. I mean, you say it like that, you go, well, duh. Of course you don't. But when we judge people, we need to be happy to be judged in the same way. Who is it that we should not judge? And who are the trolls? Who are the pigs? I think that the people who we are not to judge are the people who at least claim to be Christians. We may look at someone who goes to another church and say, they can't be Christians. They go to church on Saturdays. They can't be Christians because they meet in a funny building. They can't be Christians because their minister isn't ordained by the Anglican Church, or whatever. We can't do that.